Hello, guys, and welcome to Odds on Serie A Matchday 3. In the middle of the summer, we still have some action, and we had some surprises. Danny, finally, in the previous match day. Hello, Danny, how are you?
Ciao, Edo. Hello. I'm on holiday, as you can see. Different
Good.
scenario. I'm at the beach, southeast of Sicily. That's where I'm from. Marina di Ragusa, great place. But I couldn't miss our appointment. The usual stream for Oddspedia. Don't worry. I'm watching all the games and checking the odds and stuff like that. And as you said, yes, we had a couple of surprises because I didn't expect Juventus to be so bad, or maybe I did, considering that none of the new signings played in Genoa against Sampdoria, and they were really poor. Milan also held to a 1-1 draw, but maybe that could have been expected. And there are some teams that are showing very good progresses, I would say, even if any of them got any points in the table.
All right, so Danny, by the Gazzetta dello Sport, getting TV Rai. So you have plenty of information to give us, good tips as always in this match day. Guys, remember to comment the video with us, and of course, press the like and tell your friends. On Friday, we have two games. The first one is Monza, Udinese, in a bad start for both teams. Monza, 0 points, last in the standings after losing 4-0 against Napoli, as you expected, Danny, being thrashed in the Diego Armando Maradona, whereas for Udinese, also a bad start, only 1 point, that draw against Salernitana.
Tough to judge this one, I would say. Two teams that both have issues. Monza with injuries, plus it takes a lot of time for the new players to get used to the new regime and to Serie A. And things are not going as expected. I would not be surprised if Monza still go back to the transfer market and add to a new squad. With some of the players that they bought a lot of experience. But for example, Stefano Sensi is always hit and miss, plagued by injury. Again, hasn't been doing much in the first two games. Still have not seen Pessina properly. Monza only scored 1 goal in stoppage time against Torino, and they were played off the park by Napoli. When it comes to Udinese, I think again a lot depends on the transfer market, because they got a lot of players linked to other teams all season long. The same Deulofeu that at the end is staying. Beto was a little bit unsettled last year, top goal scorer, but he should be on the bench for this one. He's still nursing an injury. And then recently they lost Soppi to Atalanta. They know they're going to lose Udoge next season to Tottenham. So again, it is a team that are still not convinced. They still need to be strengthened, especially in the middle of the field. A lot will depend on the form of Deulofeu, Pereira, Beto. But last season, Udinese, after all, they were okay. 30 goals scored in the travel, 2 less than Juventus. Juventus were particularly poor anyway, but Udinese gave us good away performance. Look, it is difficult to judge this one. As you can see, the odds are very high for all of the 3 possible outcomes. I'm going to go for an Asian handicap in this case for Udinese in the second half, which is 186, which means Udinese, I don't think they're going to lose the second half. If they draw the second half, you get your money back. If they win the second half, which doesn't mean they need necessarily have to win the game, you win 186.
Probably with these high odds, it's good to go for an Asian handicap for any of the sides. Danny speaking, Udinese, of course, in the second half, Benito is going for under 2.5 goals, I guess, given the fact that Monza, they are struggling to score, and also Udinese, as Danny said, they have offensive problems. I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but the bottom 3 teams right now in Serie A are the newly promoted teams, Cremonese, Lecce, and Monza, and all of them, the only teams with 0 points. But in different circumstances, next game is a good one. Lazio, Inter. If we remember last season, Lazio won this game 3-1. Lazio with 4 points after the draw against Torino. Remember that they suffered, but beat Bologna in the Olimpico in the opening day. Whereas for Inter, Danny, they left us some doubts against Lecce in the opening match day, but they were very convincing in the victory against Spezia.
Oh yeah, they strolled past Spezia. I mean, they had absolutely no problem, but it was Spezia home, a team that you would expect them to beat comfortably, and they did. And I think the good thing for Inter is that even after they took the lead, they didn't stop playing football as they did at the Via del Mare against Lecce a week ago. Lukaku still playing at 50%. I don't think we've seen anywhere near what Lukaku used to do in Italy, but still making a difference. And that tells you that there is a difference in class, in intensity between the Premier League and Italy. We didn't need Lukaku coming back to discover that, but a 50% Lukaku is already good enough, but they need more from him. The partnership with Lautaro starts working. A great assist from Lukaku to Lautaro. And Lautaro is one of those strikers that once he starts scoring, he likes to go on a scoring streak. Normally scores for 3 or 4 or 2 games in a row. So going for Lautaro to score amongst all the goal scorers here could be a good one. But what about Lazio? Lazio, although they only got 4 points, I think they show improvements. It is a team that is doing better than last season. I feel the players have already embedded more of Maurizio Sarri philosophy, playing with the 4-3-3. They did suffer a bit the high intensity and the high tempo of Torino in the away game for 60 minutes. But then after 60 minutes, they had a lot of chances, and the best player on the pitch was Milinkovic-Savic, not the midfielder, but the goalkeeper of Torino, who kept all of Lazio chances out. Let's start looking at the odds, and let's start looking at the over market, because last 5 games between Lazio and Inter, all both to score. 4 out of the last 5 over 2.5 goals. Of course, last season Lazio beat Inter 3-1. Inter kept a clean sheet against Spezia, but that was the first one in 7 games, including the pre-season. 2 very attacking teams. Inter had 17 shots on target so far in Serie A. They are joint top with Roma. They hit the post or the bar twice in these opening games, and Lazio was the second best attack at home last season with 42 goals scored. So you always have to look at both to score here, I think, also because 3 out of 4 Inter goals have come in the second half so far this season. The 2 goals that Lazio scored against Bologna came in the second half this season as well. So you could look also at both to score in the second half, for example, if you're looking for higher odds. But here I'm going to go for a slightly conservative one, if you like, over 3 goals, 2.15, which means 2-1 each way, you get your money back. 3-0 each way, you get your money back. More than 3 goals, of course, you win 2.15.
Okay, goals at the Olimpico. You mentioned both teams to score in the second half because of the games we've seen so far this season. One Chuk is going for both teams to score in the first half. Any
Possibly.
of the options, you get good odds, of course. As we saw, both teams to score in the full-time game pays very little, 1.6. So it's not bad if you go for higher odds, looking for the halftime, or the first half, or the second half. Great game, this Lazio Inter. We will see more about the Inter and how strong they are in this year. On Saturday, let's move on. We have 4 games. First one is Cremonese Torino. Dani, Cremonese, one of these teams that I mentioned at the beginning with 0 points, newly promoted, but I think the idea or the image they've given so far is not bad at all. They lost 1-0 in the Olimpico, 3-2 against Fiorentina. Even they hit the post in the very last minute against Roma. They were competitive. Whereas for Torino, we had a big question mark, no? How is life without Belotti? Well, so far, so good. 4 points is a good start for Jurichmen.
Yeah, both teams have had a good start of the season, but with different results. Look, let's start with Cremonese. I don't think they deserve 0 points from 2 games. They had very difficult fixtures away at Fiorentina, away at Roma, 2 teams that are very strong at home against minor teams. And if it wasn't for a Radu mistake against Fiorentina, they would have got the point. In Roma, they hit the post, they did well. They were unlucky, I think, in the end. But, it is an interesting team for 2 reasons mainly. First of all, because they have a very clear structure and propositive way to play. They play with a back 3. They build from the back. They are patient, and they got pacey attackers as well. Dessers, we saw them last year in the UEFA Conference League. He was one of the top scorers alongside Sinisterra, and they reached the final, which they lost against Roma. Okereke had a good season with Venezia despite relegation. And also you got some young players, good recruitment, Ascasibar from Hertha Berlin, Pickle, who they picked from the Portuguese league, and then some good youngsters, Zanimacchia, Valeri. Remember, this is a team that changed a lot from the team that was promoted last season. Also, they changed the manager. There's no longer Pecchia there. It's a new man, Alvini. But nonetheless, they kept a very good style. they hit the bar or the post 3 times so far in the first 2 games. So very, very unlucky. On the other hand, though, this kind of play propositive, especially against top teams, leave them a little bit exposed. And in fact, they conceded 4, and Radu so far, he's the keeper who had to make more saves in Serie A, 18 saves so far. So if you like Cremonese, if you trust Cremonese, but you know what the limits are, you might want to go for a both team to score, which is my pick with a pace 180. Remember, this is Cremonese first home game in Serie A since 1996, so it's going to be quite an environment at the Zini. Torino, we mentioned before when we talk about Lazio, they show great intensity for 60 minutes, then they concede a little bit, but I think they're going to give Cremonese a very good battle, as they did against Monza, the other newly promoted team, which they beat away. They're going to be intense, they're going to be pressing high. Torino, any Juric team you can expect from them, especially at the beginning of the season. I think Torino have a deep enough squad, despite leaving, obviously, Bremer and Belotti. Now they got Vlasic, Lazaro as well. So they're gonna be hard to beat, both to score. I'm not gonna pick a winner here. 180, I think, is a good odd.
And Sanabria as well, for instance, in the
of course
attacking line. For Torino, we have many options here from our audience. Welcome back, Marco Paul. Cremonese to win is his pick. 3.45 in his opinion is a gift. For Kishore, Torino to win the corner market, and for Innocent, Cremonese at least to score 1 goal. So we have
I like that one.
different
I like
options.
That one.
I kind of like all the options. Actually, then the game of the games for this match day, Juve, Roma. Juve very disappointed in their first away game with that goalless draw against Sampdoria, whereas for Roma, positive vibes, Mourinho style, is true, 2 victories, 1-0, but they created a lot of chances. Dani, and Dybala is very active. Actually, you can see that the attacking life of Roma with Pellegrini, with Zaniolo, with Dybala, with Tammy Abraham is a very good one.
What were Juventus doing against Sampdoria? What are Juventus at this moment? They got no identity, no style of play, apathetic. It looked like Juventus from last season. Well, but after all, they were missing the major signings: Di Maria, Pogba, on the pitch. Chiesa is still out. Without those players, it's really Juventus almost unwatchable, I must say. The first half against Sampdoria, they were appalling. No ideas, not being able to play through the middle. A lot of crossfield passes from Bremer to Quadrado or to Kostic. They created nothing. Vlahovic touched the ball 3 times in the first half against Sampdoria. That's why concerns have to be raised, not only about the players, but also the managers. Also, of course, Allegri has the excuse he hasn't got Di Maria, he hasn't got Pogba yet. He's still looking for a midfielder that can organize some sort of play. They are looking for another striker, probably Milik, which I don't think is going to be an upgrade on what they have or an upgrade on Morata at all. So basically now, if last season they were depending on Vlahovic, now depending on Di Maria. But Di Maria is not going to be in for this one. So it's very difficult for me to see Juventus scoring more than 1 goal in this one. And actually, when I think about last week and they scored 3 against Sassuolo, I wonder how did they manage to score 3 against Sassuolo? To be fair, the beginning of the game was very poor. Last season, Juventus at home, in terms of scoring opportunities, they were appalling. The 14th home attack, only 25 goals scored, 7th overall in the home table. So, that's where they should do much, much better. It is a team that needs at least 2 or 3 reinforcements. Bonucci is going to be back for this at the center of defense. And now let's go to Roma, second clean sheet in a row. Last season, they kept 15 clean sheets, second 1-0 in a row. A result which they were used to do last season. I don't think the 1-0 is representative of actually the chances they created both against Salernitana and against Cremonese. They could have scored much more with better decision making, better final pass. Abraham and Dybala would have had at least a couple of goals. They also hit the bar 3 times already in the post this season. So, they're producing a lot of attacks, top for shots on target, as I said before, with Inter. But they suffered against Cremonese. Cremonese. They suffer because of the high intensity, the high press. They suffer a team that went toe-to-toe with them. Let's see how Juventus set up for this one. A bit unlucky, Roma, with the injuries, because they will be without Wijnaldum, probably for the season, because he's fractured his tibia, and with Zaniolo, because of the dislocated shoulder, he will miss a couple of weeks. Now, the question for Mourinho is he going to deploy Pellegrini in the midfield and lose a little bit of spark up front and maybe lose a little bit of filter against top teams? Or is he going to go with the two midfielders, with the very robust midfielders, Matic and Cristante? I think the latter. I think he's going to go to Turin with Matic and Cristante to keep it solid, to keep it tight, to try to not to concede and sneak a goal, which of course they can do with Dybala, with Tammy Abraham, with the aforementioned Pellegrini, and maybe with Bellotti, who might join Roma soon or later, and maybe might be able for this one. Four of the last 5 games between these two teams have been over 3.5 goals, but I cannot see many goals in this one, to be fair. Let's not forget, last year Roma lost both games against Juventus in very unlucky circumstances. They didn't deserve to lose, of course, at Turin with a massive mistake from Orsato. Roma, Asian handicap 0 in the first half. So Roma not to lose the first half, to keep it tight, as I said, Mourinho doing the job, probably doing the dirty work. But I think I cannot see Roma being the losing side on this tie, to be fair. You might want to check even the double chance. But Roma to lose, Asian handicap 0 in the first half, 228.
We have even good odds for Roma to win if someone is more audacious. The last Roma victory in the Juventus Stadium was in 2020, so not long time ago. And there is some consensus here about not seeing many goals in this game. Danny, you mentioned also going for an under for this game. Hickson, Wanchuk, they are both going for under 2.5 goals. Innocent is going for under 3.5 goals. I think after what we've seen from both sides in these two games, is kind of normal going for an under in this game. Although remember also the 3-betting game we saw at the Olympico, for instance, but that was long time ago, and a very good game. Yeah, very good game we saw between these two teams. It's gonna be fun to see where they sit for this new season. Juve and Roma, and of course the champion, the current champion Milan, playing also on Saturday at home against Bologna with 4 points. They drew against Atalanta in the first difficult test of the season, whereas for Bologna, Danny, not a great start after losing with Lazio, getting only a draw with Hellas Verona. Bologna probably same as last season, no? Like mid-low table team.
Yeah, let's see what kind of ambition they have, but I think Bologna is still incomplete. It's a team that is weaker than last season. They lost Tiat, they lost Hickey. Let's see what happens. It all looks like they depend on Arnautovic once again. He's gonna be fit. He's gonna be playing this one. They will be without Arsolini, but yeah, I don't think Bologna is gonna go to San Siro and take the game to Milan. They're gonna sit back, defend, wait maybe to hit them on the counter, and I think the odds for Bologna to win are high, and they're reasonably high. Milan, I wouldn't be too disappointed with a point at Bergamo this beginning of the season. Second game, Atalanta is very difficult to play with, and probably Milan got the point they deserved. Maybe they are still a little bit rusty, still a bit hungover from the Scudetto. It is a team that has obviously strengthened this summer, but maybe they need to find again the firepower within them. We know they have a very good team spirit. We know we have a very good organization. They just need to be more on it, especially the top players like Leao has had a very difficult start of the season. Maybe there is a move to Chelsea on the way for him, but I don't think so. They still have chances against Atalanta nonetheless. I mean, I think the draw was good, but they could have won it after all, and I saw glimpses of De Ketelaere and Origi. I think De Ketelaere is going to start this one, and Origi will feature heavily on this game. Milan, let's not forget, also Rebic, who went on the score sheet in the first game. Giroud, they got firepower. They can hit Bologna. Maybe the worrying things for Milan is that they already conceded 3 goals, where last season they kept 17 clean sheets, but they can't go back to the winning way and the winning 2-0 here against Bologna. I feel last year, let's not forget, Milan was the best home defense. They only conceded 12. They do need another center back. though, after letting Romagnoli join Lazio. Simon Kjaer is still not back. Now next week there is a midweek game. They cannot afford having only Kalulu and Tomori. They play Bologna, who was one of the worst away team last season, less than 1 point per game. I cannot see them really improving this season as it stands. They play with Lazio, was against a man. They took the lead, and they ended up losing deservedly 2-0 in the first game of the season. A conservative one, I think. Everyone expects a lot of goals, but I'm going to go for under 3 goals, which pays 2, so doubles your stake. Again, it's conservative because if it's 2-1 each way or only 3-0 or 3-0 for Milan, which seems a lot at the moment, you get your money back. Less than 3 goals, you win 2.
All right, and the last game we have on Saturday, Danny, is Spezia Sassuolo. I think this one is a very tough one to call. Both teams with 1 victory, 1 defeat against top teams. That defeat, one against Inter, the other one against Juventus. What do you expect? Again, in my opinion, a tough one to call.
Yeah, really tough one, and I'm going to be very quick on this one. I'm expecting Sassuolo to score a couple of goals, and I'm expecting Sassuolo to take the lead. That's my pick. Sassuolo to score first, 183. Why? Because they're going to be the most propositive team of the two. Is going to be the team who got more of the balls. Someone who's got in midfield, Lopez, Frattesi, they're going to dominate the game, and they're going to be a chance from the start for Pinamonti to impress. He's the new striker. He's the guy who's replacing Scamacca. After all, Pinamonti last season scored 16 goals in Serie A, the same as Scamacca. Scamacca went to West Ham, and Pinamonti went to Sassuolo. Spezia against Inter. Well, you never know where the demerit start and the merit of Inter starts, but they were really passive, I would say. I think they're still missing something in midfield. They're going to be more defensively minded this season under Gotti. They're going to play more of a 5-3-2 formation. Last year, they were the worst home defense with 41 conceded. I think Gotti is going to look to keep it very tight when they play at home, play more on the counter. I'll still be interested to see if he deploys Verde, Gyasi, Agudelo, and Zola at the same time from the start. I don't think he's going to do it. He did it against Empoli, but not against Sassuolo, who can be so dangerous. Sassuolo to take the lead, 183.
All right, for Marco, this is a draw. Actually, it's a good option, I think, going for a draw when you don't know where to go. A draw is not a bad option. Next one on Sunday, in this case, Salernitana, Sampdoria, 2 teams that suffered a lot last season to stay in Serie A, and both also started with only 1 point. And in all 4 games, we didn't see many goals. Danny, actually, both teams to score no was the answer for all 4 games of these 2 teams, Salernitana, Sampdoria. So I won't expect a great action, a great game in Salerno for this one.
Yeah, and both teams to score no is my answer here as well. That's my pick at 220, because Salernitana and Sampdoria yet haven't scored a goal in 4 games combined. Although Sampdoria, I must say, they were really unlucky against Juventus. I think they deserved a goal, especially in the first half, and also against Atalanta, they hit the bar, they hit the post. Against Juventus, they hit the bar again. So it's the 3 times they've been really unlucky. Much better against Juventus. We can start seeing a little bit more of Giampaolo style, keeping the ball better, moving a little bit better. But they only play with 1 striker, only play with Caputo. I'm not sure how many goals they got in them, and now they are without Candreva, who last season was so good and now plays for Salernitana. So I wonder whether Sampdoria have got the cutting edge. Salernitana last year at home were the 2nd worst defense. They conceded 39 goals, but still managed the great escape thanks to Nicola, but also based on some very good away results. They played at Udinese was with 10 men for almost 50 minutes. They didn't take advantage. I don't know. I think this is going to be tight. Both to score no, 220.
Okay, not many goals in the Arecchi. We go from the south to the north. This is a good one. Verona, Atalanta, with Atalanta getting 4 points. So a good start for the Gasperini's men beating Sampdoria in the only away game. This one could be tougher in the Bentegodi. Only 1 point for Verona with Cioffi as a new manager. They got a draw in Bologna. Is their only point, Danny?
Yeah, and I think Verona, although it's definitely not the same team as last year, it's weaker. They lost Caprari, Simeone, and they lost Barak, because probably he's going to move to Fiorentina. So that's already almost 40 goals gone. And they haven't strengthened much in midfield either. They're not the same team as last year, but they got a very good organization. They got a very good experienced player that have been in Serie A for many years, and they played the 3-4-3 system. So I think they're going to give everyone a good fight. I wonder how well they can manage games once they go ahead, because they don't have a particularly technical midfield players that can actually put the games to bed and keep the ball well. Verona is more about intensity, attack, pressing high. This is obviously a heritage from when Juric was there. They might miss Faraoni for this one. They got two big strikers up front, Henry and Lasagna, which seems okay. They both score so far. The defense seems a little bit weak since they lost Casale to Lazio. And now Atalanta, I think this could be a very good opportunity for Atalanta. This game and this season, they don't play in Europe, so they only play one game per week. And I think with the roster they got, they can well manage to finish in European position and take some satisfaction also from away games. The big question mark for Atalanta is whether Malinowski is going to stay or is he going to leave. He scored against Milan, but again, he's considered really ready to leave. But good intensity against Milan. Let's see, because depends a lot from the creative players. I know Gasperini wants another striker. He's not convinced Zapata and Muriel can play together well. They're gonna be without Jim City, who's injured, also without Palomino because of the suspected doping case. So they're gonna have some issues at the back. A team that normally leaks a few goals. Last season, Atalanta were the third best away team. They were much better away. Verona were the fifth home attack, but they're going to miss the front three. The last year scored so many goals. I'm still going to go for goal for this one. Both to score doesn't pay enough for me to trust it. So I'm going to go for over 1.5 goals in the second half, which happened in last Verona game at home against Napoli, and that's 190.
Okay, despite all the problems for scoring, you go for goals. Actually, everyone here is going for goal. Kishore, both teams to score because Verona somehow find a way to score. Also, Wanchuk is going for both teams to score, and Rafael going for Atalanta to score in both halves. Also, Innocent says that Atalanta will score 2 goals, so we expect goals. In the Bentegodi, good one. This Verona-Atalanta, even better the next one, Fiorentina-Napoli, because Napoli, they are now top of the table, 9 goals scored in only 2 games with the Georgian Kabraskelia. I don't know if I pronounce it well. You will
let's
tell
call
me.
Let's call him Cravadona. That's how they meant. That's a Cravadona. It's been fantastic.
Top scorer of Serie A with 3 goals, traveling to Artemio Franchi, to Fiorentina, to Florence. 4 points for them, beating Cremonese, drawing with Empoli, and they have European fixture this week. They are playing 20 in the conference.
And this is good what you said. It does a big question mark because depending how many changes is Italiano making to the formation, Italiano normally makes always 3-4 changes from week to week. And they did it last season for a lot of time, but still they managed to play very good football. Now let's see, because in the game they played against Empoli, they changed 9 players from the game at 20, which they're going to play today. Very important game. They carry a 2-1 lead. Fiorentina needs to qualify for Europa Conference League. It's one of the targets for this season. I think they still need to find the best form in some of the players. For example, they brought a very good right back in Dodò, but he needs to get used to it. He needs to find the form. He used to play for Shakhtar last season, so he hasn't played much football, obviously, for obvious reasons. But also in players like Jonathan Icone, a little bit better decision making, better shooting. They did create chances at Empoli, but not enough, I would say. This, I think, is going to be a game where you have to look at the goals market. These are the 2 teams who have had so far the most shots. Fiorentina is also the team who's taken more corners so far, 20, so average 10 per games. And last year, Fiorentina were the second top team at home behind Inter. Napoli were the second away team behind Milan with the best defense. It finished 2-1 at Florence early in the season for Napoli. But in the form that Napoli are, with 9 goals scored, with 6 different goal scorers, you need to think they're gonna continue and they're gonna create a lot of chances against the Fiorentina side. They're not gonna sit sit back and defend. So they're going to be chances in both areas. Will we see also Napoli new signings? Now they've strengthened the team with Ndombele, with Simeone, with Raspadori. They already got players that can make rotations, and they've added to the signings of this summer, obviously Kvaratskhelia being the top one. I think Napoli are going to be flying up until the Champions League start, and maybe when they got 2 games per week, we'll see. But so far, I think they're going to be okay, and you think you can trust them not to lose this one for sure. Over 2.75 goals. I think the odds for this are really, really good. It's 194. So if there are 3 goals in the game, you win half your stake. Considering that these are 2 high-scoring teams, is very good.
Very good odds for this game that should be very interesting. Also in the outright market, if you are trusting Napoli, you have good odds. Marco is trusting Napoli a lot. Actually, Napoli Asian handicap -1 that pays a lot, I guess around 4. Napoli half time, full time to win, or both teams to score goals. And goals for Innocent is Fiorentina to win either half. So I guess either the first half or the second half.
Absolutely.
But really good odds for this Fiorentina-Napoli. Very interesting game. In the Frankian, we have another game yet, Danny, to analyze. Lecce Empoli, really bad start for both sides. Actually, they are even out of Coppa Italia in the first round. Lecce, 0 points. Empoli, 1 point. Apart from not many goals, I guess, what do you expect in this game?
Well, this is a relegation 6-pointer, really, and it comes very, very early in the season. Let's see if Lecce can capitalize on the many chances they do create. I think of the 3 newly promoted side, I mean, they're all different, the style of play, but Lecce had a tough start, Inter and Sassuolo away. It's very difficult, really, to get points. But nonetheless, they play positive football, 4-3-3 with Strefezza, with Cisse up front, which I like, Di Francesco as well. They do have scoring chances. They just need to be a little bit more composed in front of goals. And being a home team in this one, they could take advantage of it. Empoli, on the other hand, I don't think they are too bad. They haven't lost the way of playing because they are playing under Paolo Zanetti, which is again a manager that likes to try to impose his style of football, obviously with different results depending who you play against. And I think despite the team being weaker, Empoli, because they lost obviously Pinamonti, Aslani, just to mention a few, they still have very promising players. For example, the left back Parisi, I think, is a very, very good player. It all depends on the form of Mattia Destro, the journeyman, who's done a lot of goals in Serie A, has been playing for a lot of struggling side and managed to save them. If he finds his shooting boots, I think Empoli will be safe. But let's not forget, this is a team last season conceded a lot of goals, especially in the later part of the season, had a very bad spell from December onwards, still managed to get saved. I know everyone expects under in this one, but I'm going to go for an over because I think it could be, if it's a Lecce win, which could happen, I think Lecce will need to score a couple at least to win this one. Over 2.75 goals. I like the odds here, 201.
Okay, most of the people prefer Lecce actually. Lecce draw no bet for Wangchuk and Lecce double chance for Innocent. Yeah. This is the last game we have in this match day. Danny, this close to end this video so you can enjoy your holidays, but before, let's listen to your safe bet.
Okay, the safe bet, it's, as I said before, I don't think Roma are gonna be defeated at the Juventus Stadium, so I'm gonna go for a double chance. X2, Juventus-Roma on Saturday, 167.
Okay, this is a risky one, I would say, for being a safe bet. And ACCA, Danny?
4 games as always. Lazio-Inter, both team to score. Cremonese-Torino, over 2.25 goals. Sassuolo, Asian handicap 0 in the game against Spezia. And Verona-Atalanta, being a high-scoring game, over 2.5 goals. The total odds altogether, you combine them, 883.
Okay, Kishore is telling us that he's learned a lot from the video, Danny. I always learn also
Thank you
when
for
I
watching.
listen to your tips and to your analysis of this Serie A. Thank you guys also for watching us. And remember to support us, just leave a comment, like us, and we will be very happy to be here next week as well with more Serie A. Thank you, Danny. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Ciao, speak soon. Bye
Arrivederci.
bye. Arrivederci.